the top 2% of college football players get to play in the NFL. And while we talk about that being professional football, there's professional football all over this region that we call North America, and there's lots of players in it. So the guys that Geoff is playing against are absolutely at the elite. And most of those guys are getting drafted in the first half of the NFL draft. But as we see often, Geoff, there are some guys that get drafted at various positions where we go, I don't really know about that. I have serious concerns about that player. Is there an offensive lineman like that in this draft for you?
Yeah, there's a guy that probably go in the first round, Tyler Smith from Tulsa. I'm a little bit concerned with what's so funny, RJ? I'm just crushing your Tulsa guys.
That's what I'm saying. Like I'm saying,
no,
he's trying to give me trouble over here.
Here's my. I mean, look, I've said this before. I mean, no problem saying it again. My concern with him is he's just super raw. I mean, the physical gifts are there, and you see at times it looks really good. But you put on some stretches of film against Cincinnati, you're like, oh boy. Like, and here's the thing, like, it's very important to talk about the value of the draft, right? So, excuse me, if he was taken the third round, no problem, cool. Third round draft pick, that's fine. But you talk about a first round draft pick now, right? I mean, it's even mocked to Dallas. You're like that's a little bit too rich, right? Like, that's the important part of the draft, right? It's about value and where you find guys. And obviously, where you get drafted depends on it really helps, not depends, but it helps set the timeline for your development, right? If you're a first round draft pick, I was drafted in 2008. I was a 7th round draft pick. So I was not on this timeline, but back then, if you were in the first round, they give you a little bit of time to develop. Okay. Like now you're a first round draft pick, man. You better play right now and you better play good or you're done. Or they're moving on from you in a year or two. You're a 3rd round draft pick where Tyler Smith, I think, should go. And okay, all right, cool. You're not going to play your first year, maybe some backup time. You're the 7th man and you're able to learn and kind of grow through. But if you put him out there week 1, he's just not ready yet. And I don't think a short NFL training camp is going to get him there. And so that's my concern. I think he'll be overdrafted. But look, NFL coaches fall in love with traits. It's what they do, right? You look, again, super athletic, super strong, can finish well, explosive at times. The problem is his hands are off, his feet are off here and there. I don't want to crush the kid too much, but that's, I think, where you get a concern. I'll give you one other guy. I'll stick my air raid stuff. Like Abe Lucas from Washington State. People are talking about him going end of first round, early second round. I don't see it. People talking about he had a good combine. He's got 3 years of film, like just lots of film. So I feel bad calling guys out like this, but I just think that we get to an. I want to see, can you block someone? Can you block someone? End of story. Yeah, there's certain traits you want to look at and you want to see this and that, but can you block someone? And in the end, that to me is more important than what you did at the combine.
No, it's a very good point, right? And it's one in which I have conversations with folks that are responsible for evaluating at the high school, college level as well, going into the NFL. And it's a trade-off between, am I trying to take these traits and try to get this raw product that I think I can mold into something else? Or do I want a finished product? And, it gets into what kind of a coach do you think you are, right? We put Bill Belichick, for starters, in this space of he could probably see something that he can make work and make it do that one thing in that defense or offense, and it goes. But a lot of us aren't built that way, and we really do need to get a polished player, especially if it's somebody we're expecting to play right away. So I think it's a good point. But yes, I was cringy because, I'm a University of Tulsa graduate, and I'm going, all right, it'd be nice if we had a second first-round pick for the first time in 30 years.
He's probably, I mean, you have the top 4 tackles, right? So you have, Neal and Ickey and Cross and Penning. I mean, they're probably going from 1 to, not 1 probably now, but probably 3-ish to probably no lower than 17 with the Chargers. If you're looking for a tackle after that, you're going, at least what I've seen so far, Tyler Smith, you own Raymond from Central Michigan. I mean, you're like, it's kind of like, I think Tyler Smith might do it, man. I think if the Cowboys want to tackle, he might be their guy later in that draft. So I'm curious. He might be a first-round draft pick. Who's the other one from Tulsa? Who's the other first-round draft pick?
Chris Paul. Yeah. Chris Paul, maybe. Or are you talking about the one that went last year? That's Zaven Collins.
Oh, okay, yes, Collins, yes.
Okay, my bad. I thought you were talking about an offensive lineman that could go, and I'm like, okay.
No. I meant last. He was the first-round pick ever?
No, since 1977.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a very big deal in these parts because he's a hometown kid and whatnot. Yeah. And it'd be nice to be known as a place that could put out a player every now and again. And we do, right? I don't want to act like Tulsa's a poor mouth, but yeah, it'd be nice. It'd be cool. Geoff, I want to talk a little Pac-12 football with you for just a second here. I'm going through the spring game and
Yes.
I'm going through my process of ranking teams and whatnot. And I saw that USC has 13 scholarship offensive linemen and had 8 available in camp for spring practices. Are we sleeping on them, or is it really just a hard deal for them to figure out in year one with Lincoln Riley?
Well, I guess the question is what your expectations are to start with, right? I mean, if you think they're a 10-win team, you're probably too high. If you think they're a 6-win team, you're probably too low, right? I mean, that's part of it. Like, where do you come in with this? My take on this is they were a 4-win team. You get them to 8 wins in year one. It's a good improvement. Get them to 10 or 11 wins in year two, and you're right where you want to be. You know, their concern is offense, defensive lines. It's just not built up right now. And we saw last year at Oklahoma that the offense, you know, again, you kind of had this attrition, right? Where you had for so many years, Oklahoma, you had these first-round draft picks, these second-round draft picks. Eventually that kind of dries up and the younger guys have to take over. We saw it just also at Notre Dame as well. We see a little bit at Alabama actually right now, and we're seeing it at Oklahoma. And the offense just wasn't as good. It just wasn't. And that's not a fault of Lincoln Riley or Caleb Williams or Rattler. It just wasn't as good. And I think USC is sort of in that same boat right now. They lose their best pass rusher in Jake Jackson. Corey Foreman, was a true freshman last year, but a little disappointed up to standards, I think. And so they just offensive line, defensive line right now are my concern for USC. Their schedule, though, is pretty light. The Pac-12 South, no major outside Notre Dame, right? No, the first 2 non-conference games aren't that bad. I think they miss Oregon in the crossover game as well. So they miss Oregon. They got to go to Utah. That's probably a loss. UCLA will be pretty good this year. So I mean, 8 to 9 wins probably is about where I think USC should be, give or take. 10 would be a lot. That'd be a great year. I think 7 or 6 would probably be a down year for you for year one. I think 8 to 9 wins is about right for Riley.
So second and last question about Pac-12 football. I got Utah as the front runner, defending champ, and I think that's a good spot to be. Who's going to play them in the Pac-12 championship game this year?
So it's got to be a Pac-12 North school, right? So
right.
We could probably cross off Washington State in that. I would cross off Cal. I'd cross off Stanford and Oregon State and Washington. So there's really one school left, and that'd be Oregon. I mean, I just don't know right now who's going to compete with them in the North. They have the most 4- and 5-star players on the roster, 49 guys right now in the Pac-12 conference. Their defense is going to be great. I mean, the reports I have from spring practice, dude, was no surprise, right? Dan Lanning is a stud coach. Just offensively, it's what is Bo Nix or Ty Thompson going to be offensively, right? Dillingham, the new OC, is 31 years old, man. It's a young coach, first time with that offense, but they have weapons. They have an offensive line. It comes down to quarterback play. And they're going to start probably slower than we think. They got Georgia week 1. They're not beating Georgia. I'm sorry. They're not pulling Ohio State. It's not going to happen. I'll be at the game in Atlanta. I'm excited to watch, this new version of Oregon play, but they're not going to win that game. They get Eastern Washington at home and then BYU at home. And BYU is tough every year. So it could be a 1-2 start. Everyone's a little down about that. But again, that doesn't matter for the Pac-12 North. I just don't think the North is really competitive. I mean, Cal's always sort of tough, but Stanford right now, they're projected to win 4 games again. Oregon State is a lot tougher than they've been in the past. Jonathan Smith's done a great job there. Washington, again, Kalen DeBoer, we'll see. And Washington State's always feisty. And I'm excited for Cam Ward, though. I really want to see Cam Ward in that offense who transferred over from Incarnate Word. That could be a really fun watch this year out west, but it's probably Oregon. It's probably Oregon, Utah again. And Utah right now, man, they got it rolling. Cam Rising and what they do on defense. I've seen that, projections come out, this ESPN FPI stuff. They're not even in the top 10. I'm like, what are we watching? Like, what are we talking about? Utah's a good team, man. They go to the Swamp week 1. It'll be a fun game, right? Billy Napier's first home game against a tough, physical-minded Utah team. It'll be fun.
No, I'm excited for that because we also got a transfer linebacker from Florida who's at Utah. And I think the quarterback play is going to elevate in the Pac-12. Cam Ward, you mentioned, at Washington State. Michael Penix coming from Indiana to Washington. Bo Nix coming from Auburn to Oregon. I'm excited for that division. And I like to see the Pac-12 get a team back into the college football playoff. Maybe this is the year to do it. Thanks for watching this video. And remember, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any other videos on the #1 ranked show YouTube channel.